I'm Cash Miller, the host of Marketing Masters and CEO of Titan Digital. Today I've got with me Lauren Gaggioli of organicmarketingecosystem.com. We're going to be talking content, and really Google versus social media. Like which is, the better route to go, which one you should really be focused on first and second. Lauren, it's great to have you with us. Tell us a bit about yourself, and I know you've got multiple websites, that you're running. So tell us about those.
Thank you so much for having me, Cash. I'm excited to be here. I'm really passionate about sharing the power of Uncle Google. That's what I call him.
Uncle Google.
He is a benevolent soul. And the way that I sort of discovered this was kind of by happenstance with my first company. So, way back in 2014, I launched Higher Scores Test Prep.com. And that was an ACT, SAT prep program that I designed and created all myself. I'm a solopreneur. And sort of through just a little bit of timing magic, I was pointed in the direction of SEO, and people were like, hey, you really should be doing keyword research. Hey, this page would be really good to add to your website. And I started sort of pulling those threads and learning more about it kind of bit by bit. I was by no means, exceptionally technical or someone who was an SEO like
Hmm.
proper. But I was able to leverage those like timeless principles that I kept seeing were the things that would get me more traffic, which I was, of course, desperate for having these asynchronous courses and no one to buy them.
Yeah.
And so, I did a lot of different things. I podcasted, I had YouTube videos, I had all sorts of things working. But the thing that ultimately fed me was organic search. And so, about 2 years in, 3 years in, I was able to drive for 2 consecutive years 200,000 new users to the site each year. So, about 16,000 new users for free, zero ad spend on that to my website. And I was able to make 4 and 5 figure months while full time momming, while moving my family from California to Washington. So the thing is, though, when you think about that sort of 1% average conversion to sales, you go,
Hmm.
okay, Lauren, that you were falling short. So
Yeah.
SEO is a huge part of it, but also then it's not just about traffic, right? It's about getting the right traffic at the right time to meet people and help them create transformation for their potential clients. And so what I do now is I help fellow solopreneurs turn strangers on the internet into happy clients. And that's the whole thing. It's based in those timeless SEO principles, but it is so much more than that. It's so much more expansive than that.
Yeah. Your story is interesting because, a lot of people that end up in the SEO space, you kind of end up, you have a concept, you have an idea, and you often start by figuring out how to get traffic for yourself. I did the same thing.
Mhm.
I had an informational site. I was trying to figure out how do I make money, and well, you can't make any money if you have no traffic. So I end up learning the principles of SEO. I start driving traffic to the site, and over time it would grow, and I figured out, okay, how do I grow my content, because that's what's driving the traffic. How do I make create more of it and be able to do it faster and such? And then I start dealing with other people. In my case, it was, I started working with business coaches, because I was like, hey, I'd love to publish your content on my site. I'll link back to yours and such.
Yes.
And they would say, yeah, we'd love to, so I wasn't paying them for the content or anything. But, it was back in like 2007. So duplicate content wasn't as an issue like it is today. And I would
You didn't
find them
need the
on,
canonical tags.
yeah, I would find them on some other site, and I'd be like, "Hey, I love what you're writing. Is it okay if I just republish it here?" And it
Yeah.
wouldn't be all over the place. It would be on a few sites and stuff. But once the traffic started growing, some of them started asking and saying, "Hey, I'd like to grow our traffic. How are you doing it? And can you help?" And I was like, "Sure. Are you willing to pay me? I'll help you." And so, yeah, some of them were willing to pay, and then eventually it's like, "Hey, can I make a living doing this?" And you make that decision because you figured out how to make this actually happen. You've become an expert. And a lot of people, like nowadays, you have university programs and stuff to teach SEO, but those have only come along in the last few years. And I won't say that they're very good. Yeah, like, some of we've had people intern that have been like social media and things like that. I'm like, they're not teaching you anything, but okay. You know?
Yeah. What like,
Yeah.
why go to college for that? That's one of the reasons I'm out of the
Yeah.
college admission space these days, by the way.
Yeah, right?
I
Yeah.
sold that company because I did not like the way that
Mm,
education's going in our country. And I think, if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer, please, by all means. But to your point, like there's a lot of wasted time. I have a theater degree.
yeah.
That's kind of silly.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. I mean, I have a master's in business and stuff, and I found that there's points that it's helped me for things, but also spent a ton of time educating myself,
Yes.
and I read a lot. And like I say, I learned SEO by doing SEO and
Hmm.
seeing the results, seeing the traffic that it was being generated. And when I would make a change, whether did it affect me positively, or negatively.
Yeah.
So a lot of it's trial and error, and we end up learning from other people that have also done what we're trying to do. So we have to be in the digital marketing space. You have to become if you're not willing to learn continuously, don't bother being
Yeah.
in this space.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I would say that's true for a business owner as well, like, for
Yeah.
anybody who's like, "I'm gonna do one thing and make one widget for the rest of my life," then that's not really what this space was built for.
Yeah, that's so true. So true. So okay, so we're talking about Uncle Google though. I've never
Yeah,
heard that. That's an interesting.
I think I
Yeah.
made it up.
You
I
should
didn't
trade.
hear it anywhere else either,
Yeah.
that's
I
what
don't
I
know.
call him because
I
he's
don't.
friendly, he's very kind.
Yeah, he's the uncle that I don't really want to invite over for the holidays, but
Oh, see, I
yeah.
do.
Yeah, you do. Well, I'm just thinking because the one thing about Google, and this is, it is the dominant search engine, and that's
Yes.
kind of so when Uncle Google comes over for the holidays, it can be a little overbearing. you know?
Potentially.
Yeah, because he's knows he's it's like he's your rich uncle. That's the
Yes.
now if he but occasionally that rich uncle has some gifts, and
Yeah.
and so he can be worth playing nice with. Um, so you are one of those that it's the proponent of you know content goes Google first, because a lot of people are creating content for social media and such, and of course, social media is a lot of video content, but there's also a lot of written content and things, but you're a proponent of Google, so what's your reasoning of why are you doing, because from an SEO standpoint, yes, it's rankings and things
Sure.
like that.
Yeah.
But content is a huge investment no matter what time wise.
Right.
Your time or money, one or the other. You're either going to do it yourself or you're going to pay somebody, but you're going to pay,
Right.
for it. So if I'm going to create it, why is it better, that time and that money better spent on Google first before you do social?
So there's sort of three main reasons. The first being Google, the whole like business foundation, right? So Zuckerberg and all the folks who build online social platforms, they make money in the same way that Google does by selling ads. However, the intent on social is to keep you on their platform, where Google is a pass through, it's a matchmaker. The whole point of Google is to connect you,
Hmm.
right? The
Yeah.
whole point is to have that like handoff as quick as possible. Google isn't creating content. Google doesn't have, I mean, technically, yes, sure, there's marketplaces that you can access through Google, but Google in and of itself isn't the content creator, isn't somebody who wants to keep you on their platform. They want to hand you off. And so
Yeah.
even though they monetize in the same way on the surface, the way that it actually works is to have people go to you. The second reason is the fact that the play on social is more running into people when they might be have their curiosity piqued or they might want to connect with you and buy something in terms of buyer intent, right? And so
Mm.
in terms of like a direct line to profit, social is good for like curating community and like keeping, connected, but if you're running ads and things, I sold broccoli on the internet. Nobody wants to talk about ACT and SAT. They're not like building community around that. So I
Yeah.
think whatever your business model is has to be taken into account. But when it comes to, you know, how to engage with people, I think the Google Play is a much straighter line to folks. And that comes down to the third thing, that we have data, right? So in addition to people having a problem and typing it into Google, that social, you have to kind of run into people. Google, people are going, I have a problem, help me. And every entrepreneur and business owner on the planet is trying to solve a problem of some sort. You can be right there with the information they need, and you have the data around it, which is why Google is the front runner, because we have far more data around search volumes and keyword difficulties. So with social, the play is to just run into them maybe at the right time and hope
Yeah.
that the thing you created lands. Whereas you can be a little more strategic. And the other thing about the data too, like I think with SEO, we can get into a technical mindset and just be like, oh, it's this search volume, this keyword difficulty. But I think it's actually a really amazing avatar exercise to do keyword research, because what you can do is see the human behind that query and go,
Hmm.
oh, I see the pain that they're dealing with. That is something that I help with. Let me meet their individual question, and with a single piece of robust content, be it a blog post or a blog post with an embedded video that has its SRT files and is embedded from YouTube and has all the descriptions and inbound links and outbound links and all the things working, can I then create transformation in a single blog post and meet that single search intent? Now, sometimes that's a sales page. Your sales pages can rank
Hmm.
if you position them correctly. And sometimes it's a single question that somebody asks. You can help them take the next right step and then invite them into your email list and get them into your ecosystem, or say,
Yeah.
hey, this is the product I offer. This is the service I offer. If you want to take next right steps, let's book a discovery call. Here's your freebie, whatever it is, or here's where you put in your credit card to get this course or offering that I put out into the world to help you take not just the single step, but then the next right step as well.
Yeah. The difference that I often, kind of relate to business owners is with Google, of course, it is intent. Okay. I'm searching for something. I have a need. It
Right
may be
now.
yeah, right now. And it may be a need that I need a service, but I may need information on something.
Yeah.
Either way, Google's going to, let's say if you want to watch a YouTube video or something, you need, a, you know, do it yourself project or something, like that.
Yeah.
Well, you still need content. And I've always told people when it comes to, social media platforms, it's the same as TV. It's interruption advertising. I
Yeah.
I I
Hmm.
don't know that you have a need for this. I know, you fit this criteria of people I'm trying to reach, so demographic and geographic criteria and
Yeah.
whatnot. But, I still don't know you have a need. So I'm going to interrupt your feed. So it's great for brand awareness, which is what TV does,
Sure.
and, traditional media like that, radio spots and stuff. I'm interrupting what you're doing so that you can look at me, you know, and maybe you have a need, maybe you just keep scrolling in the case of
Yeah.
social media. So, everything is really you know, you have an intent or you don't, so I always like with a business, you have to see what it is you're trying to do. If I need leads, I need intent. If I want brand awareness, I need interruption.
Yeah.
Uh, and so that's where you would point it.
And I think too that for I always come through the lens of solopreneur, right? We're all capped by the amount of time we have. A lot of us don't have teams. Maybe we have a couple of contractors we work with, but we're not necessarily able to throw the kitchen sink at it.
Hmm.
And the other thing about search is that the best time to plant your SEO tree, your SEO optimized tree, was 12 to 18 months ago.
Yeah.
You need to start seeding that content before you need it. And it can give you that, like, as you see things start to creep up in the search volume, you can go, okay, this is what more people are being drawn to. Let me continue to feed that and build momentum here. And it allows you to shore up your systems, to start small, fail forward, as you are building something from nothing. Whereas SEO, if you're going, I'm going to spend all my capital on ads and hope they work,
Yeah.
like I would rather have the trial and error be a freebie and
Yeah.
leverage the time I have as best I can to ensure long-term results, right? It's that ROI on that principal investment is the search traffic that you get down the line. You can tweak and make it better down the line, but with ads, you kind of want to be sure that they're going to work
Mhm.
as opposed to just like, here's my ad spend. Like I remember early on, like boosting posts in Facebook and being like, I hope this works. Here's $20, Facebook. And it
Yeah.
just didn't do the thing. I tried with paid and I tried many different angles. And organic is what I came back to every single time. And ironically, it's the cheaper, faster, or slower, I guess, but cheaper way to go about it with far less vulnerability. And so as a solopreneur, I think that's really critical is to come at it through like the pragmatic lens of I have knowledge to share. If I feel like I can't get it out, I'm struggling mentally, right?
Yeah.
Emotionally, like I want to help people. So how can I just start channeling that intent into blog posts and meeting that searcher intent and helping them, which adds a little bit of a different angle.
Yeah. Well, often with SEO, that's with stats, you can see, I've got a piece of content, you can tweak that piece of content and stuff. You can, because you can tweak the SEO, try to improve it and stuff, because it gets out the gate. It doesn't get necessarily enough, much traction, but you can, continue to optimize it a bit better.
Yes.
You can lengthen the content. There's no number of things you can do. And if you see, that the traffic is starting to increase, it's because you are slowly improving the ranking. It's getting
Yeah.
higher and higher until eventually it's in a spot that's going to, be able to make a difference. The social content can be really hit and miss. Like say on one
Yeah.
side with Google and SEO, I can grow that piece over time. But if I'm on the social side, I publish and I'm done.
Yeah.
It can be, because we all often talk about pieces that go viral and stuff, and what made it do that. Well, for one, it's probably going to be on social video content anyway, for it to work. But it's harder to make adjustments if you're not running ads with that content. You've published it, you don't have enough audience, maybe you boost the post or whatever, but it really didn't go viral or anything. Nobody picked it up. So you put all this time and effort, and there's not much in the way of adjustments that you can do to
Yeah.
make it better, to get
Kinda
it
just
so,
done.
yeah, you're kind of done because everything is a feed. So it shows up and it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it unless it gets picked up and is shared, so it ends up on different feeds, but it needs a lot. And if
Yeah.
you're not a big brand that has a huge following, then you have to pay to promote it. Yeah. I've talked to, some people recently that, what they're using social for is, especially ads and things, they're using it as funnels. It's,
Yeah.
yeah, but they'll run ads and they're not trying to sell you anything. They're trying to generally exchange a piece of content, maybe a white paper or something like that for an email address. And
Yeah.
then they can do that, use that email and stuff for marketing, for email
They're bringing
marketing.
them into their
Yeah.
ecosystem. They're getting them off of the social platform.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But, if you have a good piece of content that is, SEO'd and it gets into the rankings, because, you know, which rankings you're going to be able to hit, like do well in and not, it's a bit of a hit and miss, type thing. You're not going to see, you might have a great keyword that you think you've got, can hit a home run with, and then can't even barely get out the gate. It's on page 3 buried. But if you do manage in the top 3 slots and stuff, that is a gift that keeps on giving.
Absolutely.
And so what are suggestions? Okay, so if you're saying, "Hey, let's deal with Google,
Yeah.
let's primarily go there." What what does it take to get this, different content ranked? Where should business owners really be focusing the effort on that side of actually getting, traction?
So the way that I focus on it is I start to create sort of nested terms. So you want to think in terms of content sort of verticals. So if you're going to try and rank for I have a course about naming your purpose because that was something that was really important for me and for my students when I was working with
Mm,
college bound students. And so my course about purpose is called Big Why Life, but I started writing content about finding your purpose. And so if you go to my website and you go to the writing drop down and see find your purpose, you'll see what's called um, a pillar page. It's kind of the hub and spoke method, if you're familiar with that. The idea is that I've written a number of pieces, and then that's an aggregate page. So I've written a number of smaller pieces that are chunked down, things about books about finding your purpose, um, personal mission statement generators, that sort of thing. And that's all then housed on this kind of core page that becomes far more magnetic to Google because it is a bigger search term. It's definitely more competitive, but it aggregates all these pieces. And some of this comes down to the technical side, like nesting your URL structure. I use WordPress, I use categories to sort of create that nested structure and to easily aggregate that information. My uh my course is listed on that page too. So if people do want to engage with that, they can. I have a
mhm.
free offering of your core values list, 111 core values to choose from. So I have a number of different ways that I'm leveraging that mechanism. But
Mm,
basically, you want to start thinking in those verticals because now my first thing is you got to know who you are and what you stand for
yeah.
in business too. So it does serve entrepreneurs. It has broader applications. But then the next step is to learn more about organic marketing. And I focus on SEO principles. So that's the next sort of umbrella term that I will be building out is SEO principles and organic marketing and things more of that nature, more the solopreneurship side. And so that's step 2. That's where I'm going with my next round of content, but you can start to see like the questions that I would answer for somebody searching around purpose is likely completely different than somebody who's searching for something around keyword research or how
Yeah.
to craft the hub and spoke or pillar page methodology. Like it's very different. And so some of it's to your point, a search intent. Is it someone who just wants information or is it someone who's ready for a transaction? And I'll tell you, organic marketing ecosystem. I am doing my beta right now. I have a second round of beta going in October, and then I'm releasing it as an evergreen asynchronous course beyond that. I put that page up strictly for people that I had already spoken to. So I did not optimize that page initially. And because of the keyword research I did, and because of how I had interlinked it in some other posts, it was already ranking for organic marketing course. Like it's
Hmm,
already on page 2, which
yeah.
I went, "Oh, oh," like it
Yeah.
worked. So and it worked quickly. I told you that 12 to 18 month lag time. This was a page that has been up for like 2 months. And so I
Yeah.
went in and I saw that it was climbing and I went back in and I optimized it. You better believe I went back in and was
Yeah.
like,
Right.
I am not letting the grass grow under my feet here. I put in better headers. I structured it more appropriately, and put the next round on the wait list there so that folks can get in.
Mm,
So I really think that the biggest thing you have to do is start thinking in terms of search intent and think in terms of the user on the other side of the screen. If you want to build affinity with someone who has no idea who you are, you need to show your personality, show